My brother-in-law and I, Rob Ebbing, put this show on. Their 14th year in a row now.
So you're like the president of the club here, or what's your title officially?
No, Rob and I are members of the Outboard Motor Club and the Antique Classic Boat Society and our Quincy Boat Club here, and all three of the clubs come together here, and we put the show on for the Quincy area here.
Is this one of the biggest classic boat shows around?
Well, we've had up to 75 boats here before, which I consider that to be one of the bigger shows that's happening around in the Midwest anyway. You can get up in Michigan and New York and stuff like that and get bigger. More, but and we cater to everybody, even the small boats, outboards, inboards.
Big cruisers. We didn't get the cruisers here this weekend. A little trouble with the river, huh?
The river kind of raised up on us about 7.5 feet in 2 days. Put the end of that real quick because they're driving up from down around Grafton area up here, and it's just impossible. They couldn't make any headway. They only go 12 mile an hour at most, and the current's 7.5 miles an hour against them. So
yeah, take a little bit of gasoline to get some of those.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Now
yes.
This boat here is one of yours, and you've restored this.
It's a 1954 Revaux made in New York. The guy here in town bought this boat and custom ordered this with the two brackets or corners in the side for twins. So this is the first boat they ever made for twins. And they had two KG9s on it. We have 45 horse Mark 58 motors, and they're 1958 year motors, and they have a shift. So we had to extend the transom to do this, but it is without a doubt the most fun boat that we've had. We've had it restored since about 2001, and been giving rides in it ever since. It's just so much fun. It goes about up to 45 miles an hour. Comes out of the water, it stands up, and then it slaps down, and then takes off. It's just it's a really neat boat to see out in the water and to ride in.
Now, do you have are the props spinning in different directions?
Back then, they didn't change them.
Oh, okay.
And people say that the boats should be moving sideways, but we've never felt it or seen it with it. So it really didn't need it. But we did have to put a metal skag down the middle of it because you couldn't turn it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we learned a little bit real quick there.
Yeah.
But so it's been, it was original Quincy boat, and so it's always been in Quincy. And so this is some Quincy history here. Quincy used to be the race boat capital of the world with the small hydros and such in the 60s and 70s. Quincy Welding and Marine built the Quincy Looper engines and such. John in the trailer here has a Quincy Looper engine and the Quicksilver lower units and stuff, Speedmaster lower units and such there that these people put together. And he would put the Mercury Powerhead together and beat Carl Kieckhofer, the guy that built Mercury Marine, and his crew in speed. So
there we go.
Deal.
So Quincy has a good
really rich river history, and the christener that set up this boat and sold this boat ended up working for Mercury Marine at Lake X, Mercury's test tank or lake in Florida, and for Quincy Racing or for Mercury Racing. They had a separate division, and he went to work for that. And then his son worked there also. And we got a picture in our brochure of his son right beside this boat, and he was the one that actually rigged the original boat for us. So it's pretty neat history with this boat in particular.
Yeah. Really, you put together a great show here, and everything is really interesting to look at.
Well, we'd like to have more boats out in the water, but with the water up like this, it's just not going to happen.
But every year you do it about this time of year.
Yeah, It's usually second or third week in September. We're going to probably try to stick with the second full weekend of September, and try to stick with that from here on out.
Well, great, great. Well, thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it.
Name's Greg Carney. I'm from Moberly, Missouri.
Uh-huh.
And, I own a tool and die shop. I own a company called Performance Tool in Moberly, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
I have a machine shop and all that stuff, so I can do what I want. But
This is your toys. So you built this in 1980?
yeah, 80, 81.
Uh-huh. So what's the top end on this little baby?
I've had it going 92. I don't know if I'd do it now.
Uh-huh.
We had it to 80 out there a while ago. Pretty comfortable, really, wasn't bad.
Good.
But that's about mid-80s technology is what that boat is.
Uh-huh. All the technologies of mid-80s.
Yeah, pretty much. They've refined it a lot. I mean, there's pontoon boats that just smoke that thing.
Yeah.
One of my friends was down Lake the Ozarks. He bought from Moberly, and he buys like skaters and stuff offshore boats and takes them to Florida and sells them. He said he was down there going along 70 miles an hour in a skater. His pontoon boat went by him like he was tied to a tree.
No way.
He said, "I'm just about ready to give up."
Ah. That's bad.
Yeah, there's guys, the shootouts run almost 100 mile an hour with pontoon boats.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's a 1973 Ski Nautique. It was a factory-owned promotion boat. It was actually used in tournament skiing when the factory owned it back in '73. It's kind of a rare boat in the fact it's got a 270 horse Chevy motor. Most of them were either Fords or Chryslers. And I'm a Chevrolet guy, so when I came across the boat, I knew I had to have it. They come from the factory. They're all painted solid blue.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't handle that. So hoses and everything originally were blue. And so I had the valve covers chromed. And then I had the decals all reproduced. Those are all original style decals that were on the motor.
Uh-huh.
And that.
But those valve covers weren't chromed like that?
No, they were all painted, but I
Uh-huh.
had to get a little flash on it.
Yeah.
All original, the boat is. The graphics have been repainted on the outside. The racing stripe with the interior and the upholstery carpet is all still original to the boat from 1973.
Well taken care of.
It's a fun boat.
Uh-huh. And where do you run that?
We run it on the Rock River most of the time. Up in our local town, it's about 15 minutes to be in the water from where we live. And so it's go out for a lot of cruises. Don't ski behind it a whole lot anymore. Not as much as I'd like to.
Uh-huh. You got some classic skis there too?
Yeah, I've got a old Maha, the wooden ski. Those were the one to have back then. They still actually make that ski. That's about a $2,000 ski today.
Huh.
And then I came across the old Vogue red, white, and blue stars and stripes ski. I had to have that because it matched the boat.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What year did you say this was?
The boat itself is a 73.
73.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
They were getting ready for the bicentennial.
They were, yeah. They made these in a few different colors. They made a solid blue one and they made a solid red one, and this has got the blue and red combination of the graphics, which is my favorite color.
So what was the history of ski nautique? You know, we see that still around, but
Yeah, they
when they start making ski nautique?
1961 was the first boat. They actually took a Higgins cut it in half, which was a wooden boat, which I have a Higgins, but they cut that in half and used it for the mold for the first ski nautique. That's still around down in Florida, that boat is. They made a bunch of them through the 60s, but they never put the graphics on them until about 71. They used the boats, most of those were either orange or yellow, then it had a big square black ski nautique. This is the first year for the script, like it is on the ski nautique. They call this a promo boat. It was like I say, it was a factory-owned tournament boat. They used it for tournament skiing throughout the United States.
Down in the gardens.
In the garden, yeah. All of them were Cypress Gardens boats. Everybody laughs about that, but yeah. No, the boat was never used, as far as we know, in Cypress Gardens. But it came out of Ohio. The original owner of the boat still lives in the house on the river where the boat. I'm the third owner of the boat, and the original owner I talk to all the time. And so I found a lot of the history through him. He bought it in Ohio at a tournament, and he had a Mustang, a Craft Mustang, and he traded it in and ended up buying this boat back then.
So what's kind of top ends that
it does about
good?
50 is all, but it pulls hard and it pulls skiers. That's what they're designed for.
Yeah, they were built for power, low-end power.
Right, and it's got tracking fins underneath the boat. It handles like a slot car. That's the fun part about it. Very responsive. Yeah.
Turns on a dime.
They turn on a dime. You got to tell people, hold on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's fun.
That's right.
Washers and nuts
And
on the other side.
that was post 1957 on into the 60s and so on. They were called PM nuts, and that was post clinch nail technology, and but clinch nailing is really strong, and this might be a Canadian built boat. It might be a Peterborough. It might be a couple of other Canadian brands that were very commonly built that way.
It was called Forest Lake.
Yeah.
Forest Lake was in a community where they shared it amongst the community. All the kids would use the boat, and
sure.
the parents would maintain the boat. They had one person that was
Yeah.
maintaining the trailer, and one person that would maintain the motor.
I see.
So they all
Yeah.
shared it all for its whole life up there.
I'll be darned. This
What horsepower is your motor?
It's a 30.
It's a 30.
this might be. You see that boat right there that just went by? That's a Chautauqua brand boat, made up in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. Okay. This might be an early Chautauqua also, because they were built that way too. And there was another brand called Tomahawk that came out of Tomahawk, Wisconsin. It was built this way. There's a brand that was Peterborough out of Canada, Canada. There are several brands.
You're not getting any closer to an answer, are you, there, Dennis?
Well, there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, a lot of
You're learning a lot.
possibilities.
He's
A lot of
learning a lot.
possibilities.
So am I.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities.
I tell you,
that
this
were
guy,
built.
the more every time he talks, even if he's talking to people, other people about a different subject, I'm got my ears open because I'm always learning.
This is you've done a great job. This is terrific.
I
Yeah.
had to build all the new
Yeah.
runners, stringers,
That,
rather.
that laugh straight is a very strong design.
Oh God, it is. Anyway,
You can't
in the
access it,
Thompson design, you see how these ribs go all the way through. Alrighty, these ribs go from side to side, except for the ones up in the very bow. Maybe there are 2 or 3 ribs up there that don't, but these are all steam bent ribs in here, and
What are the ribs made of? What
white oak.
White oak.
White oak. Alrighty, and you notice how every third rib or every fourth rib is bigger dimensionally than the intermediates, like that. Okay, those bigger ribs go in first, and then the other ribs are spaced between them, and so that makes for a very complicated jig because the notches for the bigger ribs have to be deeper in the jig itself when you're upside down, like that, and still have the steel band in there to set the rivets. So anyway, it's a rather complicated initial build and so on, and the ribs tend to break right under this right here. They tend to break.
These longitudinal stringers?
Right. They tend to sometimes break right under those, and
Look at how this is beefed up too.
yeah. And so anyway, it's she looks like a really good, strong little boat.
We need to buy one. Get one.
Yeah.
Here we go. They're gonna use
Probably a gallon a mile.
How do you like the name of that boat? Senior Trip. You guys ready? You've got an affinity for these things with these big tail fins and stuff.
I like weird, unique, low production, and this one here they made, in the 3 years they built them, they made probably 60, 70 of them, but still they're unique, and that's why I like them.
Very unique. It's a 58, and I looked through your photo album. You've restored a lot of 50s vintage, and they were big on those tail fins.
We started in '06, and the late 50s, early 60s is what I've stayed with because of the fins and the unique style of them and the low production. That's what I really like. You pay too much and they're rough, but when we do them, we strip them, we grind them down to the cloth inside and out. We come back, we use gel coat back to the original, and we build them all the way back up. If we need a piece on this trim here, if you can't find it, so you have to have it made. And then, but all my boats have got the period correct trailers and motors, and backed as close to original as possible.
All this chrome, you probably got a good relationship with a chrome guy.
Several, and I don't like it takes so long to get them, so I use 2 or 3 different ones. And I like to buy a lot of new old stock bow lights and stuff like that. You're better off to pay too much and have it, because chrome plating's high. It's unique and different. That's what we like.
And you put these on the water. You don't just keep.
Yeah. In fact, I just got back from Buffalo with one of my other ones. Big show up there, and we ran it as far close to Niagara Falls you could get till they told me to turn around. And well, we run them. We use them. If we scratch it or bang something up, we'll fix it. They were rougher than this when we started, so it's not that big of a deal.
Well, something I appreciate about this boat show is that you go to a car show and there's not many things that when you're up in my age, in your 50s, there's not many things that you haven't ever seen, but you go to a boat show like this and everything you haven't seen. You've probably seen a lot because you've gone to these things.
I know people's got collections of cars, 1,000, 2,000 cars and everything, but the weird fiberglass. There's some people's got some nice collections of Chris Crafts and wood stuff, but all my stuff is weird and unique, and that's what I like about it. It's the challenge of the hunt.
Yeah, great.
There were 4 of us who go to hit 4 bucket seats like that. I was driving and slowed down, and we kept going, and there was a huge wake ahead, and I didn't see it.
And you've got a lot of unique stuff, original decals and all kinds of great stuff for restorers.
I have been a Mercury dealer for going on 40 years. I've recently retired and sold my dealership, but I still keep doing this aspect of it. And I've restored tools, and I've got t-shirts and sweatshirts and decals and parts manuals. And at home, I've got pole buildings full of available parts and a lot of no longer available parts. Like I say, after 40 years, you accumulate a lot of stuff. I've got 300 motors that are waiting to be restored. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So have the American Pickers come and visited you
No,
yet?
they have not. No, and I'm not to that stage yet. I still take orders, and I still have a lot of customers, and I'm really enjoying the hobby, and it's keeping the door open.
So you do some stuff online?
A lot. I have a web page. It's, can I say that?
Yeah.
It's JohnMcintosh, John McIntosh, Vintage Mercury Outboard at, no, not at, Vintage Mercury Outboard at .com.
All
Yep,
right,
yep, yep.
wonderful.
That's it, and I've got everything that I have is on there, and if I don't have it on there, please call me. I've got the phone number on there, and call me. I probably can help, and if I can't help, I'll try to find something for you.
Great.
I'm always
great.
interested in trying to help.
And some really neat T-shirts from that depict some old Mercury stuff.
Yep.
And Mercury.
I just do Mercury.
What you just spit at Johnson and Evinrude?
No,
and
not at all. My motto is they're all good until they stop running, then they're all dogs. As a matter of fact, I have a very soft spot in my heart for Gale Sea Kings, like that one right over there. And I have a very soft spot in my heart for Chrysler, and I have a very soft spot in my heart for Scott Atwater. You know, at Mercury, I made my living off of Mercury. I guess I am probably one of the people that do bleed black, and here I am.
Very good, very good. Well, very nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. This is a 1958 Mercury Mark 10. It features the automatic transmission. If you note, there's no gear shift on the side like on conventional outboard motors. It was all spring-loaded. It was really over-engineered for its time, and a lot of people don't like them because, for some reason, Carl Kiekhaefer hated the fact that Evinrude and Johnson came out with the full gear shift motor before he did. So he forbid his engineers to design a motor with a gear shift. For example, their 6-cylinder motors of this vintage didn't have a neutral. They had forward or reverse. A 2-cycle engine will spin either direction. So Kiekhaefer designed the motor so when you wanted to go forward, you pushed the button forward, and when you wanted to go reverse, you pushed the button reverse, and it started the whole motor backwards, which revolved the prop. And this is similar with the springs in the transmission. No gear shift. He forbid the gear shift. Obviously, eventually, you know, stockholders went out and they came out with a gear shift. I mean, they couldn't.
It's got an air horn.
All right.
Okay, this is a 1960 18-foot Chautec. I bought a year ago, June. It had been stored in a man's garage since '88. And I brought it home and I completely stripped the outside, resealed it, and repainted it. The motor's original, a 75 horse V4, and it started right up. The only thing I've replaced on it is the impeller for a water pump. And so far it's been running good. It doesn't leak any water. It was made as a no-soak boat where you didn't have to soak, you know, to get them sealed up. I
But it's all wood, no fiberglass on the hull.
Yeah, it's all wood, and I've taken some liberties. I built those fold-down tables. I added the horn, replaced the horn, and I added the searchlight, and I put on new tack and clock. And that. So I just finished it the end of July. So I've been to 3 different boat shows. And I've had real good response.
Now this radio flyer theme here. Now that wasn't an original thing. Was it?
That was not original. Because it was red and white, we just said that looks like a little toy wagon. So we just had to do that.
Yeah, kind of neat,
So a guy from Indiana that was a retired stock car builder, he restored it and did the upholstery, had the embroidery done, and a few other things, and then put it on eBay for sale and sold it to a buddy of mine who only had it for the winter, and his daughter needed braces, so my fiance and I bought it, and then we did other things to it, put the motor on it, the steering wheel on it, made the flags, different things like that. Kind of a new horn, just a little bling bling yet.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun looking little boat.
Cover that goes around here, a cockpit cover that snaps on to protect everything from the inside. Yeah. But this is our everyday run around boat. You can just drop it in the water and go.
You bet. And then you got a matching truck that's red and white.
Well, I just like red and white. So the truck came along, and then the top came along, and I was like, oh, that's a good combination. Because we have
now, and you have 2 other boats here?
Yes, 2 others. This is a 1960 sport craft. And it's all been restored, and I put a new transom in that this summer and painted up, put a new motor, a different motor on it, and just kind of cleaned it all up and fixed it up, and new carpeting. And then there's a 53 Santana Special over there that's built by the Dunphy Boat Company, that was built for the Santana Marine Service in Dinner Key, Miami, Florida. And it was a special boat, and it's so far to be the only one known to exist.
Now, what I wanted to show you is, when you talk about a gas can, you know, how exciting can a gas can be until you start learning some features. Now, what's exciting about this one is it's an Eagle can, but Evinrude thought so much of it that they put their logos on it. And what's exciting about the can is, this is a 1.25 gallons. You turn it around this way. In the meantime, it locks right here. You turn it around, and what happens is you open up a hole that the fuel can be poured out of it, going through this hole. But when you turn it this way, there's no fuel going to come out. So you have to rotate it around 180 degrees. Now, what's also exciting is what you can do. You can measure
how much oil to put in.
With the gas, yes.
And you turn it over and dump it right in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
So like I said, how exciting can a gas can be?
Sure.
That's a 61. They called it an Oceanic. 18 foot. I found it in a junkyard up on the Mississippi River. They said it floated in the 93 flood. All the gel coat, everything was gone on it, but the windshields were still intact. So we got it for $100.
There you go.
And took it back to I'm with the Antique Classic Boat Society with the Mississippi Valley chapter out of St. Louis. And we have a sub-chapter we call the Old Boys. And it's actually a shop and everything where we do all the restoration work ourselves.
Oh, great. Yeah, you get together once a week.
Couple nights a week. Every night officially, and then usually there's at least one other night where we do special projects. And we do everything from, we cut and form all the trailers, we do the fiberglass, we do the woodwork, everything but overhaul the engines. So it's the hull that actually started.
Classic plastic.
That was just a name I picked. I have a 44-foot Chris Craft cruiser that we restored that's a steel hull. So we called it roaming steel because it's a roamer and it's steel hull. So we figured this one had to be classic plastic.
Very good, very good. And I heard tell this is a chick magnet.
I don't know what it is. I guess the color. A lot of women like it. Yeah. Most of the guys look at it and say, it's too girly. But the women like it. So.
The colors they had, did they?
Well, ironically enough, when we got this, when we started sanding it, and I kept thinking, man, they put a lot of primer on here. Well, I did some research on fiberglassics and found that they actually had a color they called charcoal that year. Well, now we call it primer gray. So we did some more research and found out turquoise was a common color, but we couldn't find turquoise, so we actually mixed it. So we put it all back with West System epoxy instead of gel coat. So it's got 3 coats of West System epoxy on it, and then it's got 3 coats of Interlux 2000E primer on it, and then it's got 3 coats of Interlux Brightside on it. And it's a little beat up. We use it almost every weekend on the river in St. Charles, so that's our get in it and go boat.
Yeah, wonderful.